Hello, my YouTube friends. There's a series of tags going around right now. Five most used knives or five work knives, whatever. Most carried knives. Different people are calling it a different thing, but it's basically the same thing. Uh, I thought I'd jump in on it. Nobody's tagged me, but I figured I was gonna butt my way in anyways. First of all, a couple honorable mentions. The only reason these aren't in one of those five is just because I haven't had them all that long. I've had them, I don't know, I think I've had this one about 2 or 3 months, and this one I've had maybe 5, 6 months. But one of these two knives, they're both K390, and I love that steel. So one of these two knives finds its way into my pocket a lot. In fact, the stretch here was in my pocket today. So honorable mentions. Once I've had them longer, I'm sure these will work their way, one or the other, if not both, will work their way into that top slots. But we'll start off with this one. This was my first expensive knife, as in over $100 knife. It's the old ZT-0566. This thing's been through hell and back with me. It's an Elmax blade, G10 handle, stainless steel frame. Assisted opening. I broke the spring on it once, and I ran it without the spring for a long time because it does have a detent, so you can actually use it, but it's got a very lazy flip without the spring in it. So I eventually wrote or emailed Kai and asked him for a new spring. But yeah, this thing, man, this thing's got. It depends on how the light hits it, but this thing has got all kinds of scratches and dents and dings in it. You know, I don't know if any of them will show up here in this. My lighting isn't the best. But this thing has been through hell and back with me. I haven't carried it in quite some time, but it's got a good 2 years worth of frequent use. This was one of my first knives. I didn't have a lot of knives at the time I had this, so it just got carried a lot. Um, but as my collection started building, I started carrying other knives. But yeah, this Elmax, man, I'll tell you what, it takes one hell of an edge. But that'd be the first one. This is another one, old Rake P801. I just love this knife, 14C28 end steel. Only a $30 knife, but it's stainless steel, and I found it very slick in the hand, so I added some grip tape to it. Doesn't look real good, but it does the trick. Very, very secure in the hand now. But yeah, I just absolutely love this knife, and this has been carried a lot. This one I've had for a very long time as well. I don't know, remember if I got it before or after that ZT, but this was early on in my collecting too. Or at least this round of collecting. I used to collect years ago, but while I was away on vacation, somebody broke into my house and stole out my whole knife collection. So this was years ago. So that took the wind out of my sails. I quit collecting for quite a few years after that. But when I got back into it, these two were fairly early on, and they got a lot of use. Then I have this one, my Spyderco. I love the Spyderco Mannix. I actually have 4 of them, and I grab one or another frequently as well. This is my most carried, most used. It's 52-100. It's the KnifeWorks exclusive version, gray G10, black hardware. This coating has held up remarkably well considering how much use this has on it. In fact, this not only have I used it a lot, but I sent this off to Gerald at Outpost 76 for testing, and he did his cardboard testing with it a couple rounds. So I mean, it's got a lot of cutting on it, and that coating has still held up well. You can tell it's got use on it, you know, depending on how the light hits it. You can see it's definitely got quite a bit of use on it, but I'm impressed at just how well this coating has held up. It's held up better than coatings on some of the knives that I've used, not even anywhere near this much. But yeah, that's another good one. The Mannix 2 is one of my favorite knives. And Spyderco Shaman. This is the M4 version. I had it reground, so the blade is nice and thin and slicey now. I haven't measured it recently. It's been sharpened a few times, but I know when I first got it back, it was 9 thousandths behind the edge. And he deleted the nub for me. Brian at Transparent Knives did the regrind for me. He did an excellent job. This thing is just an excellent work knife too. You can tell just by, this is micarta scales, you can tell just how much I've used it just by how worn in that micarta is. It's pretty smooth now. I'm actually thinking about replacing them with another set of micarta scales. But yeah, this thing is, I got a lot of miles on this too. I love this knife. Shaman's a great knife to start with, but you delete that nub and you regrind that blade to a nice thin grind, and it just gets even better. This thing cuts like a beast. It just blows through cardboard like it ain't even there. Great, great knife. And last, this one gets used a lot because, well, whoops. Jeez, I keep bumping the table. Or the camera, I mean. This sits next to my, this sits on the end table. So, like, if I'm sitting around on a computer or watching TV or whatever, I need to cut something, I grab this. It's always there. It doesn't have a pocket clip. This is one of the ones that I redid and I messed up and got it too thick and the screws didn't bite for the pocket clip, so I ended up losing the pocket clip. I've actually lost a screw out of it as well. This was one of my first attempts at doing the scales, and I just didn't get the dimensions quite right, so the screws didn't bite well. Which is why I don't carry it in the pocket anymore really very often. Once in a while I do. Once in a while I'll either throw it in the pockets in a leather slip or just drop it in the pocket. But for the most part, it just sits on the end table, and it opens mail, it opens packages, um, cuts open snack packages or whatever. I mean, it gets used a lot, pretty much daily, really, but it seldom ever actually gets carried. And just as a side note, as far as fixed blades go, I got a ton of those too. The one that has been the most use on it is my Bark River Legion. I just love this knife here. Wipe that off here. Got some gook on it actually from the last time I used it. But yeah, this thing has got a ton of use. You can see, maybe, this light hits it right. It's got scratches up the side of it where I've used it. It's actually got what looks like a little roll right here. And I was going to sharpen that out. I was chopping into a branch about, I don't know, 2.5, 3 inches around of red oak. And I plowed it into a knot. And it rolled the edges a little bit because this is ground very, very thin, and it's CPM 154. It's not a hard use tool steel. It's very, very thinly ground. Slices like a dream. It's held up pretty well. That's the only damage that the edge has ever taken. I was going to sharpen it out, but then I figured, you run your nail across it and you don't even know it's there. I can slice through paper and it doesn't snag or catch or anything. I figured, you know what? Why move all that steel? I'll just, as I sharpen it over time, it'll work its way out. But to completely remove it, I figure why remove that much steel if I don't really need to. I've only sharpened this once since I got it. Most of the time I just strap it up, but at the end of the day when I'm done using it, I just strap it up real good, and this thing has held its edge awesome. And I've had this knife now for probably good 4 years. I'd say maybe even 5. I don't remember. I'm trying to remember. It was 2016 or 2017 I got this. But yeah, it's an outstanding knife. This thing is thinner behind the edge than some of my folders that I got. I'm amazed that actually it hasn't taken more damage, especially considering the use I put it through. And it's a stainless steel. It's not a tool steel or anything. But an outstanding knife. I mean, it's a 1/4 inch thick at the spine, yet it comes down so thin behind the edge. It's ridiculous. This thing is just a slicing demon. I can cut up sliced tomatoes or cut up cardboard or whatever with this thing, and it just handles it all very well. And makes feather sticks. Spine's sharp enough I can throw sparks off of it to start a fire. I've done a little carving with this. A couple years ago I went out and my brother got a deer, and I went out there and I helped him butcher up the deer with this. This thing has just done a little of everything. So that would be my bonus or whatever, my fixed blade most used knife. And lately I've only had it for, I don't know, a couple months, but lately I find myself reaching for this an awful lot. Great knife too, Master Hunter. But I haven't had it long enough to put it in my most used knives, but I imagine that's going to change because I find myself grabbing this an awful lot lately. Anyways, that's all I got for you today. Let's not forget about our veterans, 22 a day, committing suicide. Need to raise awareness to that. It's a number that's got to change. But until the next time, stay blessed, stay safe, and we'll see you.